I'd like to call the meeting to order, Shared Services, October 22nd. Motion to approve minutes of the last committee meeting. Supervisor Garrity, second by
When was it?
Mr. Wild. Well, we don't have a lot of meetings because we do when we have substance, difference to some other committees. So, anyway, we like to do it when there's substance. I'm now there's no agenda, new business. I'm now going to turn it over to Ms. Butler, and she's going to give us updates. So, Ms. Butler, take away.
The first thing that you'll see as an attachment to the agenda is basically an overview of where we're at with savings for 2017 and 2018. The numbers are pretty good. I don't have all the usage reports in yet. They're still trickling in. So, so I'm still going to be adding to this throughout the rest of 2018. You know, we're pretty good with we were great with 2017 because that was the first official year. 2018, as of July, we were already at 76% of last year's number. So that's only 7 months in. That does not include solid waste or recycling numbers. I had to take those out because there are no savings for 2018. So it's pretty impressive that we're still at that 76% even without those figures. Also attached, I give you detailed reports for each of the towns so you can see exactly where everybody is to date. The shaded lines are numbers that I have actually verified through usage reports. The other lines are based on estimates that the towns gave me. So as the remaining usage reports come in, I might be able to shade those in based on what I find out. Let's see. If your towns can add to these reports, if you know of items that you've saved on that I haven't necessarily been able to track, i.e. the piggybacking bids or piggybackable bids, we don't get estimates for those, so I can't determine whether or not you've saved anything based on those bids unless they are on the usage report. So if it's one that I haven't gotten, but you know that you've saved money, or a good example is the vehicles that we purchased this year. You know, you guys had budgeted amounts. I know what we spent, but I need those budget figures, which I haven't gotten from everybody yet either. So that might be an additional savings. I have been to the Bolton Fire District and done training with them, so they're utilizing our system. I haven't gotten any information back from them to see where we're at as far as savings. I know they were going to start with things like office supplies, paper products, and I've had meetings with the Queensberry Fire Companies, and we're kind of still in flux there as far as what legally they're allowed to do. Other than that, there's still challenges. Getting information from the towns. I've had a battle with some of our vendors to get the usage reports. You know, they're telling me that, you know, if they're selling to other municipalities, it's confidential information, even though they're using our bid and we've required reporting. So, you know, I've spent a lot of time trying to get that information. And then when we get that information, we're putting it into next year's bid so we have accurate estimates.
Julie, are you having any, so you just said you're having some problem with some of the vendors providing information?
Some of them.
From a legality standpoint, they are required to provide the information, correct?
They are.
Okay, so just my suggestion would be maybe Mary's department could help you with putting a little pressure on them to fulfill their legal requirements and giving us the information.
Well, what I found is if I take the page out of our specs that has that reporting requirement listed there, and I send it to them, eventually I get it. So it's just a matter of the follow-up. And, you know, this morning I got a report from one of our major steel product suppliers. But that was, you know, going back and forth, phone calls, emails, and I finally got it. There's not that many left to get, but if I do have to get to that point, I certainly will involve.
Okay,
County
very good.
Clerk's office.
Chairman, Mr. Garrity?
Yeah, Julie, the WB Mason, I mean, we follow the county, we buy a lot from WB Mason. Is that not included, the WB Mason?
WB Mason is, and they gave me a usage report for all of the municipalities that
Maybe I
participate.
haven't.
I don't think Warrensburg was on that.
I mean, we're buying every week from them.
I'll follow up with Jeff to see if maybe he just missed it.
And even I do buy, I don't use a lot of paper, but the fire district buys paper from WB Mason too. That's, you know, we're so small and I'm just surprised because they're in our town every week. And I'll check with Kathy too to make sure that we're getting you the information.
Okay. Yeah, I do get phone calls from the towns and the city, and, you know, so I know it's being our program's
Yeah.
being utilized,
Yeah, we buy everything from them.
but we don't get, you know, some information that we're needing.
Okay, I'll follow up with that.
You know, looking at these numbers, 2018 through July, you average about 17,500 a month in savings. If you extrapolated that out, that would come to $211,000 for the year compared to 2017. So that's about $77,000 for 2 years in savings. Personally, I think that's a phenomenal job you're doing, Julie. And I know all the challenges you've had with some of the towns, you know, because they're shorthanded and so forth, being able to respond and giving you accurate information or any information. And now you've gone around some of that challenge, which I applaud, and you're going right to the vendors to get information about usage and accurate, and that's just a great problem-solving way of doing business, and that's what I like. Supervisor Wild.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Being at large, I don't always see the minor details and pieces of this, but from the outside, why isn't Julie buying for everyone? Why do we have individual purchasing, right? Kevin mentions that they buy paper from the fire department, and why is everybody buying their own stuff? Why don't we just have Julie build a team that does it for everybody?
You mean for all the towns?
Yeah,
Is
for
that
all
what
the
you're saying?
towns.
Mr.
Well-
Garrity or Julie? Go ahead, Julie.
This program is designed that way.
Yeah.
But,
There are only
but
certain things, we can consolidate all of the commodity purchases. That's what this shared program was about, starting back in, well, it was 2017 was the first official year. We did a test year in 2016. So we got information from all the towns saying, okay, what is everybody buying and where can we consolidate? So to a certain degree, you know, with cooperation from the towns, they're not required to participate in everything. You know, some of their vendors, you know, I'm thinking, hey, the far, you know, far north part of the county, they might get a better deal from somebody further north than our bid down here. And what happens is our vendors build in freight and shipping into their bid costs. So it might actually raise the price of some things. I'm not saying that's everything.
so going along the same lines, then, if Edna's getting a better price than everybody else in the county, why doesn't the county go to her vendor?
Because it might not be the same, if we put everybody together, then she's gonna pay a higher price because they're gonna add on the freight for the southern part of the county. So it's kind of a case-by-case basis, and we look at, you know, where it's gonna work, where it's not gonna work.
I can tell you from a school district standpoint, every school district has what they call a business officer. And part of my, when I was on the school board, was why can't we have one main business officer for Warren County buying for all the school supplies for the school districts? And boy, I've met with some fierce resistance there, because number one, it's called territorial. The school district said, I don't want to get rid of my business guy. How do I know you're going to take care of my school and so forth? So there's a lot of politics, unfortunately, Mike, involved with that. I didn't give up on that, but I was shot down on having one central buying for all school districts in Warren County. They wouldn't go for it. Yeah, Mr. Garrity?
Real quick, I do think, Mike, that we do follow the county contract on just about everything. She's helped us with a lot, and including supplies for the wastewater treatment plant. So I don't know why, we got to find out why we're not appearing, but yes, we do. We use Julie's bid on everything we purchase. We just submit our own orders. We don't go through Julie and have it and pick it up down here. They deliver it exactly. So I got to figure out why some of our numbers aren't appearing on
Well,
it.
and just on the wastewater treatment chemicals, I've still got a vendor that hasn't reported, so maybe that's the vendor that you guys are purchasing from. They haven't
Yeah,
provided...
Slack Chemical is, they are Slack.
I think that's who it is.
So just
Yeah.
if I may continue on though, but there's power in numbers, so to speak, right? So
Yeah.
volume drives price.
Right.
So I'm thinking that, even though Edna may get a better price up there, we could get a better price together if everybody's buying and those whole numbers come through one office. To me, it makes sense. It's something that it's consolidation. It seems like there's duplication of effort, but
Well, I think that...
I understand it is political.
But no, I think the $380,000 in 2 years indicates that she is doing that. And have we totally eliminated each town's prerogative to buy their own things? No. But have we made significant headway in buying in volume? Yes. And that's the $370,000, $380,000 savings in 2 years alone. Yes, Ms. Hyde?
So we use all of this and save a lot of money, but I'd like to give Julie a heads up that some of the items that we typically buy, we don't buy anymore because our town hall no longer gets cleaned because our cleaning lady has been fired and our maintenance man has been fired. And I understand in next year's budget they don't plan on providing either, so don't get the wrong idea that we're not following along.
No,
We are, but
I believe, Ms. Hyde, you have
we just don't clean our town hall anymore.
You have your own challenges up there in Thurman, I believe, and that are somewhat unique to your town.
Well, and I can tell you that these numbers totally blow out of the water what we're required to save under the savings plan, or the shared services plan. So we have exceeded our target. But obviously, there's always something we can do better, and that's what we continue to try to do every year. So next year technically is the last year of this shared services plan. I have no problem with continuing the way that we're going because we've already got everything set up. The difficult part is having the time to do these savings reports. It takes a lot of time to track all that down, but I've got a great staff. We're doing the best we can, I think.
I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and I don't think anybody in this room would say differently. The numbers speak for themselves. We're a numbers-driven county and so forth, and your results are phenomenal. Mr. Ryan.
Julie worked really hard with me as well to try to expand this program into school districts, but it just didn't work for a number of reasons. Very frustrating. But
School districts are, again, from my experience, are very challenging and turf-oriented, and sometimes what's doing best for the actual district and the taxpayers isn't always the final results. So I can attest to that. Yes, Mr. Wild.
And along those lines, maybe we should spend a lot of our energies focusing on that in terms of wasted taxpayer money, because I spend more money on school taxes than I do on county.
Your school tax is 68% of your total tax bill, and I totally agree with that, Mr. Wild. You're preaching to the choir, mister.
Mr. Lehman to help us out, but it's just the focus that we need to do, there's more opportunity there than there is in the county.
And in defense of the superintendents I spoke with, they were all very good, but the state aid formulas are built in such a way that doesn't necessarily incentivize this.
Yeah. That's a very valid point.
Yeah.
The state aid formulas actually encourage them to stay away from us buying and away from a central buying authority. The state aid formula, Mr. Huntley, Dr. Huntley has explained that to me, as well as some other
Role
Mr.
issues.
Jenkins.
Still our money.
So it's still our money. So are there any other questions, or does the public want to speak? Everybody's left, seeing we're a couple hours behind. Yes, Mr.
I
Garrity?
don't know if this is shared services, but with the trash removal, waste management, we're gonna have
That's
a...
on the agenda for tomorrow.
Oh, that's on
Yeah,
tomorrow.
the DPW agenda.
Okay.
It's fairly good news, I think, as far as the electronics recycling. I think we've gotten that taken care of. The solid waste is going to be a little more complicated, but that's on the agenda for tomorrow.
I just, from our standpoint for electronics, we've overflowed our containers. They're coming, they're behind. They've got so much electronics recycling. Hopefully they're supposed to be there today or tomorrow.
Ours are
Pick up.
too.
We're on, we're outside the container and they're doing so much recycling.
Okay, are there any other comments? Motion to adjourn. Mr. Loeb, seconded by Mr. McGowan. Meeting's adjourned. Thanks for everybody for coming.
Yep.